thank you so much for inviting me along tonight. I'm not sure how many of you heard of ScreenSkills before, and Venia is very kindly going to run my PowerPoint for me. So Venia, could you be so kind as to start that for me, and I'm going to talk over the top of it. So bear with me. Brilliant, thank you. So just to give you a little bit of background, so I'm talking tonight from ScreenSkills. So ScreenSkills is a UK-wide organisation. So that means we cover Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and all of England, including London as well. So I should explain that although I work for ScreenSkills, I live in Leeds. I live in the north of England. So not everybody who works at ScreenSkills is London-based. And as many of you will be finding now, that television production isn't just made in London, it's in Glasgow, it's in Bristol, it's in Manchester, it's in Leeds, it's in Belfast, it's all across the UK. So everything that I talk about tonight is UK-wide, and it can be accessed wherever you're living at the moment in the UK. So as Calvin said, high-end TV is quite a new phenomenon. In fact, Venetia, would you mind going to the next slide for me? Thank you. So before we press play, this is a taste. This is our showreel for high-end television. I'll explain exactly. Well, actually, let me explain what high-end TV is now. So in the UK, high-end television is classed as anything that makes content at over £1 million per hour episode. So anything that you might see, which is on BBC, which is high-end drama, which is after 9 o'clock at night, on Amazon, on Sky, on Netflix, on HBO, on Disney Plus, that's all classed as high-end TV. But what also can be high-end TV is unscripted. So we work with many different production companies and productions who are based generally out of Bristol, who make unscripted for natural history and international natural history as well. We also work with comedy. So the rule of thumb for me would be, if it's on at like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, and it's a soap opera, so EastEnders, Emmerdale, Hollyoaks, Coronation Street, those kind of British soap operas, they're not classed as high-end TV, but everything else that drama is. So hopefully if we can get it to work, if you wouldn't mind playing the showreel for me, you can get a sense of all the productions that we work with and a little bit of a sense of what we do. Thank you.
Let's go, come on. All right, get back.
There is a time and a place for such a private...
Mom! Something in your eye.
What's it called?
Whoa!
Okay.
Let's go!
What are you doing?
I'm assuming no women.
They become too emotional.
No, don't worry, I won't let him lay a finger on.
The airport, please. Let's go and wrap it up there.
Thank you. So that kind of gives you a taste of a lot of the productions that we support and work on in high-end television. One thing I haven't mentioned, which I really should have at the start, is that ScreenSkills are here to support behind-the-scenes crew. So be that camera, makeup, sound, costume, post-production, virtual production, visual effects. So we are not an organisation that works with actors or casting agents, or stunts. So I should be really clear, that's very much about equity and is a very different part of the business. So we're absolutely behind the scenes, but as well as crew, we absolutely do support producers, writers and directors as well through our working groups. So yeah, as you can see on screen, we're industry funded. So the funding that we get comes from the High-End TV Skills Fund. So that's industry contributing into basically training and development for the UK workforce. As long as you have a right to work in the UK, everything I'm going to talk about tonight is absolutely accessible to you. And we do absolutely cover TV, film, animation, visual effects, games, but my specialism is working in high-end television, be that comedy, drama or unscripted. So bear with me, if there's any questions later, I might not be the right person to answer them, but I'll have a good go. And if I don't know, I can find somebody who can help you. But yeah, a lot of our work, because it is about industry, it's about developing a workforce. You know, many of us come into the industry and we don't have the right training, or we need mentoring or short courses or something that's really going to help us step up our career and basically be able to not only apply for jobs at the level we're working at, but really build our career up. Be us working from somebody as a production runner to go up to coordinate, to go to line produce, from camera trainees to clapper loaders, from location assistants to unit managers and beyond. So it's very much about how we can support your continuing professional development. So one of the things that the programs we first start with is something called Trainee Finder. So bear with me, I'm going to kind of talk about the programs that we have. And Venia, if you wouldn't mind sharing the slide about Trainee Finder, we're going to just jump on that one, if that's okay, on to the next one. Brilliant, thank you so much. So Trainee Finder is one of our flagship programs. We have just closed for applications. You might have seen it advertised on our website or through social media. We had over, let me think about this, 3,000. We had over 4,000 people apply this year for about 300 places. So it's a really, really competitive program. And what happens is people can apply, but you need to choose the department that you want to work in. So we absolutely look for people who really want to work in art, assistant directors, costume, locations, hair. So this is a program for people who are very junior, who are wanting to get into the industry. But it can also be for people who are career changers. So for instance, one of the location trainees we had quite a few years ago, she was a lady in her 50s. She'd already worked 2 or 3 careers, and she came to us having worked in hotels. She'd run a post office, she'd run in retail. She'd worked in lots of different industries that really had transferable skills. She made a move into locations. She's in Scotland, and now she works on big feature films, such as Warner and for Disney. So it's absolutely achievable. And we're open to everybody as long as you're over 18. So I don't know if any of you have applied, but our selection process starts in 2 weeks' time, where everybody's CV is read by 3 people. Then we go to interview, and then placements start in April. So if this was something you might be interested in, we will advertise again next October. But what I would say is Trainee Finder is brilliant. We help about 300 people a year, but there are lots of other training programs out there. So maybe at the end of this session, if anybody's got any questions about what else is out there in the UK, especially if you don't live in London and you want to know what else is out there, I'm really happy to have a think and come up with some ideas for you. But this is very much for people at the start of their career. And then the next program we run on the next slide is called Make a Move. Now, Make a Move, I think, might be of interest to quite a few people here tonight, because this is about how we take you from where you currently are in your career to basically the next step up. What you also could consider is where you are with your experience of working in the Ukraine and beyond to actually get enough experience in the UK. So the idea of Make a Move, it's for people who are ready to step up. So you might be a clapper loader who is ready to start being a focus puller. You might be a makeup artist who is ready to start makeup supervising or crowd supervising. The key thing is you're stepping up into the next job that you haven't done before. Or you might be transferring. So you might have had, a career in Ukraine in unscripted television, but now you want to move across into drama or move across into comedy. And our program can absolutely fund that. The training is on the job training. So you are doing the job, but the benefit is that ScreenSkills can provide funding towards your salary, but it can also support mentoring, training courses as well. So you might think, I really want to work in high-end television drama in the production office, but I don't know how to use a software package called Movie Magic. ScreenSkills will pay for that Movie Magic out of the Make a Move money for you. So at the end of your Make a Move, you will feel more confident in the role, you will have a training plan, you'll understand the role a lot more, and then ScreenSkills will keep on supporting you to try and help you find the next job. The one thing that I should explain about Make a Move is that unfortunately ScreenSkills can't make that move for you. Production companies come to us. So if it is something that you're interested in, you'd have to find a production company who would be able to support you. But again, that's probably for questions at the end. But yeah, productions will come to us and say, we found somebody, they're really brilliant. Please, can we have some funding to help step them up? So that's where, doing your research about what companies are out there is really, really vital. And again, I can talk about that at the end. So that's Make a Move, and that is only in high-end television. But across the UK. The other programme that we have for film, Venia, is, actually, no, it's not for film, it's Leaders of Tomorrow. So I'm going ahead of myself. So Leaders of Tomorrow is like Make a Move, but it's for 3 years. So basically, people apply for Leaders of Tomorrow, and then they go through a selection process. And if they get a place, we basically help them for 3 years with careers planning, short courses. We make networking opportunities for them, but we have people across that in camera, sound, makeup, production office, post-production sound, virtual production. But it's very much about how we help people who really in the long term want to be a head of department or in a leadership role, because we know that it can be really, really hard to break that ceiling. People might only see you as a brilliant camera operator or a brilliant makeup artist, and they're so brilliant that they want to keep you where you are because they don't want you to step up, because that means they'd have to find somebody else to work in their team. So this is about you being able to propel your career with our support. Again, that's for high-end television. But yeah, the next slide, I was getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, is Film Forward. So Film Forward is, it's what we call a positive action programme. It's for people who come from a global majority who have 5 years of experience of working in feature film. Again, it's pretty much the same. It's shadowing, but it's about helping propel and empower people to be able to step up in their next career. So I know we have candidates on Film Forward. We have somebody in Yorkshire who is a very, very experienced documentary editor who wants to edit in features. And we have Mari Yariyama, who is based in Bristol. Mari is a director of photography. She works on continuing drama and soap opera, and she wants to work in features. So we're working with her to find that opportunity. So that's very much about the sort of programs. But if we look at the wider things that we can do at ScreenSkills, on our next slide, let me talk to you about professional skills. So what we found a few years ago by our industry working groups is that, being able to have the technical skills is really, really important for any of us. Be that computer skills, be that self-shooting, makeup, costume, those practical doing skills. But what is probably just as important, if not more important, is how any of us really look after ourselves and look after our crew and look after our colleagues and friends. So we introduced what we call the professional skills courses. So these are around leadership roles. So for instance, we have people who work with us who are very brilliant production designers, directors, photography, but they don't know how to lead a team. They don't know how to do an appraisal. They don't have the confidence in how to manage a team, especially when sometimes things can be quite awkward and quite difficult. You have a member of your team who might not be gelling and fitting, or you need to manage their timekeeping or their approach and their attitude to work. You could go on a leadership and management course. In the UK, it's very much now the forefront about anti-racism, but also anti-bullying and harassment. Absolutely being kind and considerate to all our colleagues and those who work around us. So that's really important, that we absolutely make sure that people are supported and people know what to do if they are in a situation which isn't right, it isn't comfortable, and how they can feel empowered to go and talk to their line manager and above to make sure that this is absolutely not going to happen and continues to happen. We also talk about disability awareness. So again, in the UK, as well as working a lot now with crew of a global majority and understanding different people's needs and cultures and absolutely understanding those around us, disability awareness is something that's really, really important, as is about positive mental health. So that's very much about how we can help you look after you, to keep on working, to keep on thriving, but also to look after yourself. I know all of us work really, really long hours. And, if we don't look after ourselves, that can have a negative approach. So again, the courses are there and you'll find them all on our website, which I'll come on to in a moment. The other thing that we have, which might be of real interest, is our bursaries, which is on our next slide. So bursaries are cash grants, which basically can help you with your training. So this can be for everything really that is really going to be appropriate for your work. So let's have a think. So again, you might be a makeup artist who isn't getting any work because you have no barbering skills. So ScreenSkills can pay for funding towards your barbering course or a hairdressing course. You might be working in the production office and you might find that you're not getting opportunities because you can't use Movie Magic or you can't use a program called Final Draft, which is very much that script editors and production secretaries use, or coordinators. You might find that you can't drive in this country, that bear with me, I don't know enough about driving licenses and internationally, but again, you might find that that's stopping you from getting work, and we can help towards paying for driving lessons if you already have a career in the industry. Childcare, so the money is there. I think it can also be used for kit. So if there is anything at the moment which is a real barrier to you not being able to progress your career in the UK because you don't have those funding, do please look at those funds. They're there, they're absolutely there to be taken. And we really want to encourage more people to access that money. The one thing I would say about our bursaries is that this is about absolutely what you need to be able to do your job. This isn't about, wouldn't it be amazing to go and do a directing course or I don't know, a post-production coordinator course when you really don't have any background in it and you probably just want to go on the course because you're quite interested in it, not as opposed to propelling a career. So, it'd be a bit like, it sounds very blasé for me to say this, but it's like somebody like myself working in a role and saying, I would really like to go on a course, an AVID course. I'm never going to use an AVID course. So when you do apply for training, we do absolutely ask you to give us an idea of why you want to go on the training. How is it going to help you? What are the barriers have you faced? how will this training and bursary really help you on your next steps? So you have to really think about that. It's not just free money where you think ScreenSkills can pay for me to go on this brilliant course. We do have to go through a very fair application process. And we have a really brilliant bursaries team who, if you have any queries at all, they can talk you through it. They can help you fill in the form. They can answer any questions. So please don't feel that if you go and have a look at it and you feel that you don't really understand what they're asking, we can absolutely support you and talk you through that as well. So they're the bursaries, but we also have quite a lot on our website. In fact, on the training and opportunities pages, which we're going to come on to next. Now, this isn't a live link, so I'm afraid I can't click on a link and show you. But if you go into the ScreenSkills website, this is our training and opportunities page. And this is where we advertise quite a lot of our courses. Not only that are ScreenSkills courses, but are also courses from other partners and organisations that we work with. And again, you'll see on the left of the screen that you can filter. So, you know, you might only be interested in craft and tech, and it might be a craft and tech training program. So if you use the filters, you can absolutely find what you're looking for. The training pages are updated every day. So it's absolutely worth keeping an eye on and go through that. Most of the courses that we advertise are absolutely free. So, you know, there are some that might ask for a small fee, but generally all of ours are free to the candidate who is applying for them. That's something that's really, really important to us when we deliver at ScreenSkills, is that there is no cost to the participant at all. So do have a look on our website, have a play and see what's on there. And then we also, actually to think about that, we also have our e-learning modules, which is on the next slide. So by e-learning, I mean online courses that you can download from our website. Quite a lot of people use these, and especially if you're new to the UK and you're trying to work out exactly where you think you want to develop your career now, absolutely ones like how to find work in the screen industries, how to identify the right role for you, I think are really, really helpful, as is how to perform well in interviews. There's also something that we launched this week called Script to Screen. And Script to Screen has been developed with a major SVOD, but it's very much about helping people navigate their way through their career. Now, I'll be really honest and say a lot of it is probably too junior for many of you because it's aimed at new entrants. But it's worth having a look at, because often in our Script to Screen sessions, we talk about terminology and phrasing. And I know Venia, Irina, Calvin, it's something we've talked about already on a previous Zoom, is that sometimes with UK terms and conditions, you know, we might be talking about a key grip, we might be talking about certain software or a job, which has a very different translation, you know, across Europe and beyond. So sometimes it can be quite useful to look at that and just do it. You might think, I know this already, but it might be quite good for a familiarization if that's something that you're looking for. All our e-learning is absolutely free. And when you have done our e-learning, you can click on it and you will get a certificate, and you can also put it on your CV as well. So for those of you who at the moment might be looking for opportunities in the UK, to absolutely demonstrate that you are looking and actively engaging, and to put this on a CV that you've done our e-learning courses or any of our courses, I think is really worth doing. For my experience of working with international crew in my own role, I often find that a lot of employers really struggle with understanding what your credits are and what your background are. So to give you an example, I've worked with refugees. I've worked with quite a lot of crew who come from India and Pakistan, and they've had a really good, really solid career in India. They come to the UK and employers struggle because they don't recognise the job titles of the drama and the programmes they've worked on. So that can be a real barrier, because everybody, you know, they're absolutely able to do the job, very highly skilled, but it's because of English production companies, they just don't recognise a name, which I do really appreciate can be a real barrier and can be a real frustration when you actually can really do that job above and beyond. It's just that it's how you get onto those productions in the UK. And then on the next slide, he's trying to give you a little bit more of an overview. So, you know, do register with us. We have the newsletters, but we have a jobs board as well. So again, if you were to go onto the ScreenSkills website, you'll see the jobs board, you'll see our events board. And I think what's really great about our website is that it has a lot of resources. So for instance, if you wanted to know more about camera organisations in the UK, makeup, costume, Beck2, you know, what else is out there? What are the training programmes in the UK? Our ambition is for our website to be a one-stop shop. I know how frustrating it can be to search the internet and try and find all these things because you don't know what you're looking for. So, you know, and that goes for people who, I was in Wales yesterday doing a careers talk, and from my own experience, I used to just Google things because I didn't know where to find it. So I just Google camera, Yorkshire, you know, networking events, London. Whereas if you come to us, generally we will advertise quite a lot of those opportunities for you. So I'm just going to pause there because the next slide, I don't know, I can come back to that at the end because the next slide is my contact details. That's me. If any of you want to take a screenshot or take a picture on your phone, but that's if you've got any questions, that's how to get hold of me. So I really appreciate that I've done a very fast whistle stop through what we do, but Venia, if you're able to stop sharing my PowerPoint for me, that would be great. But has anybody got any questions or would like to know a little bit more about what we do at ScreenSkills? I'm really happy to answer any questions. I might not have the answer, but I'm really happy to try.
Hello, could I ask? My name is Inna. I have experience in media production more than 7 years, and also I have experience in filming, and I want to try my skills in UK, but it's very hard to find work in my industry. So can I join or try my self in your company? I should try it like on apprenticeship, or I can send my CV like for the like job. No, I mean job or apprenticeship. Which will be better?
Okay, and can I ask, Inna, where do you live?
In Manchester.
Ah, okay. Have you got a pen and paper?
What
I know
paper?
I'm very old school. I don't do it on my phone. Have you got a pen and paper to scribble?
Ручку і щось записати в мене.
Wait a minute, please. Wait a minute.
Okay. Thank you for translating for me.
Yeah, thank you very
That's
much.
right.
Are you ready?
No, she's looking for something.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so what I should say is ScreenSkills, we don't make production.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't make film and TV. So I couldn't offer you a job because we are about training and development. However, if you Google Screen Manchester,
Mm-hmm.
so Screen Manchester, film Manchester,
Mm-hmm.
and then Creative UK. But Creative UK are also called Creative England. All of those organisations have crew databases, and they have people who support crew databases. So and it's not going to cost anything. So you could sign up on those crew databases, but when you sign up, they'll give you the name of the person who runs it, and I would email them. So for Creative England, it's a lady called Samantha.
Yes.
And for Screen Manchester, or one of them, it's somebody called Ellie. I can't remember which one Ellie looks after. But they would be able to give you really good careers advice about working in Manchester.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
That's right. There's also something called Ah, Prolific. Now, I don't know if it still exists. Prolific. So Prolific, North.
Mm-hmm.
They
Prolific.
used to have a newsletter as well, and they might advertise opportunities which are more in commercials, in corporates, in online content. So have a look at that as well, and that might. And also you've got the BBC. So the BBC are in Manchester, and also ITV. So both of their websites, you might find jobs on the ITV and BBC website.
Yeah, BBC, I know. I sent them more than 20 CV of mine, but it's unsuccessful. But it's okay.
The advice I'd give to anybody, actually, when you're applying for anybody in here tonight, is sometimes you need to explain what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly is the role? So, for instance, when we first met this evening, you talked about media production. Some people might not know what you mean by media production. So you might need to explain that that's camera or production or makeup. So yeah, you just might need to give a little bit more detail than media production, just to really help the employer work out how they can best help you.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's a pleasure. Oh, thank you, Benia, for sharing that.
Nikki, can I ask a question? I'm a sponsor of one of the ladies on this call who also lives in Manchester, and she's an experienced executive producer. And I've spent 3 months trying to get anyone to even talk to her. I've had meetings with people at BBC, ITV, and the best advice, or the only advice that seems to come, is apply for a job as a runner, get a driving license, and kind of start at the beginning. So have had absolutely no luck with somebody with a stellar CV in Ukraine getting any form of work whatsoever in TV or film in Manchester. So I feel sorry for anyone trying to do it that way, because at least my sponsors had the benefit of me knowing people who work at the BBC or ITV, and I've got absolutely nowhere with getting her even unpaid anything work. And
what genre does she work in, Zach?
Sorry, I'm Zoe. I've got my
Zoe, sorry. Zoe, yeah.
She works in documentary, so what you'd call documentary feature films. So a lot of she's on the line there somewhere. I'm speaking for that lovely lady in the middle there, and has made 6 feature films in the Ukraine, and founded the Young Cinematographers of Ukraine, had her own film production company, and I cannot get her a job even bringing somebody coffee on a film set. So I don't know what everybody else's experience has been like, but it's been incredibly difficult to get a foot in the industry.
So a lot of people will talk the talk and will say that they're really keen to support and really want to support, but actually when it comes to it, they're not then delivering. Now, what I was going to say is, because I'm mindful that a lot of people might have questions, do you want to email me, Zoe? Okay. Do you want to email me her CV? I can't make any promises, and again, we're not a crewing agency, but let me have a look in case there's something that I can think of that you probably tried it already, but let me have a look if there's anything I can help with.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, this is the first time I think Elena might even have seen other Ukrainian film industry people, and I don't know if everybody else's experience is the same, and I'm hoping that maybe somebody says, oh yes, I've got work or whatever. So I thought I'd just take that opportunity, seeing all these people on the line who are from Ukraine and who work in this industry, to see if anybody's had any luck and how they got there.
No.
Could I just quickly...
I feel the same situation, sorry.
And
Nikki, can I ask?
Just to follow up.
Yeah,
because one of our contacts has done a kind of survey within our colleagues to find out, how they're managing. And what seems to come up very often is the fact that there's recommendations are missing. So a production company, for them to take on a Ukrainian, because they haven't been in the country long enough and they haven't been recommended, it's really hard for them to get a foot in. And what you were saying, Nikki, I think is really interesting, that if they register and they do even the most basic course and they can put ScreenSkills on their CV, that's already like a first step to showing that they're in the UK and they're actually part of the system in training.
Can I talk also? It's my name is Ksenia Bugrimova. It's very interesting topic because it's like everybody from us, it's few months, we send our CV a lot and nobody respond. I have experience more like 15 years, and in production, I be a head of production, I be a CEO, I be a director, I be a producer, a showrunner. So it's a different roles for independent of the projects, TV shows, reality shows, The Bachelor Ukraine, the Ukrainian Got Talent, like Britain Got Talent. So it's like, you know, the big project and the future films, the short films, the documentary films, different. And nobody here, I try to find a job, and I come to just maybe runner or extras or something like that. So that's why we created like association, our is community interest company, Talented You, Ukrainian United Kingdom. So that's why we make this last month, we like volunteers, we make a database, everybody who is like staying based in right now in UK. So we're also speaking with filmmakers for Ukraine, and I sent to them this database. And I'm also 2 times mailing to the ScreenSkills without response.
But what, so when you've emailed ScreenSkills, what have you asked ScreenSkills for,
like,
and how?
Yeah, it's like just 2 weeks ago. It's like because we creating our association just 1 month ago. So all this last month we creation this database, and we wanted like representation letter, introducing letter. We writing to ScreenSkills and inviting in the meeting last Wednesday. We have event. It's like welcome Ukrainian filmmakers, like Women Film TV support us, back to support us, and we want to also invite in the ScreenSkills because it's very important for us. Everything you told, it's like it's our also. We want same things.
Yeah. That's who did you send it? Who did you email it to?
We find a mail how we can. It's like we don't have we see. The problem is Ukrainians don't have a contacts. Yeah, we have just normal contacts with what we can to find on internet.
Yeah. Oh no, but when you emailed you very kindly said that you'd emailed ScreenSkills.
Yes, 2 weeks ago.
But do you know the person who you emailed?
No, not personal. So
so with that in mind, and again, I can't, you know, I'll do my best, but I can, if you want to again get my contact details off Calvin and the team, because absolutely we can. You know, I can pass it on to the right person, and I'm so sorry that they didn't get back
it's
to
like
you.
it's like we're very happy you're doing. It's like today we have a Zoom, maybe it's help to us put in the next level, because it's like we creation this association just about for the also representation our skills and try to help to our community to be adaptation here, to rebuilding career, but it's our good. So that's why, we have a lot of now fantastical, talented people here.
If I could pop in, Ksenia, I'm sorry. First of all, two things. Could I interrupt and ask you if I can share with everyone here on the chat your website?
Of course.
Right, so that especially Nikki has an overview of what we're talking about. Yeah, so it's talented-ua.uk.
Yes.
And the next point I wanted to bring in this discussion, Nikki, is that I think, and I sense many people will agree here tonight, that there's a lot of repetition of this question. I keep sending CVs, I don't have an answer, nobody's replying to me. So maybe something that came up from your wonderful presentation today is that it is important that people seeking something should be as accurate as possible. And does it make sense that they know who they're writing to? So if you could if you could give them and all of us any tips of advice, like, try to make sure you address your question, your email to a specific person. And with this in just a tiny bit, ScreenSkills website has all your contact details, which is wonderful. People can find all of you, right? If you could say more of that, tips and...
Yeah. Oh, go on, Ksenia.
No, thanks for your advice. Yeah, everything we'll do. So it's like we have a big plan, what we want, big plan in 2023. And we hope it's, this is a non-profit community. We just trying, the adaptation, rebuilding our career, mental well-being and educational, because have a lot of creative people from the, not camera, not lights and not makeup department, because it's more easy, but have the creation people, the brilliant script writers or brilliant journalists, but they have a level of English like pre-intermediate or something, and they don't have any chance for find a job in their, so that's,
So what I would say, across the industry, I think across the UK and different people in different job grades, from runners through to very senior people, the biggest frustration that everybody ever says is nobody replies to my emails, nobody gets back to people's CVs. So it really isn't about anybody's background and where they're coming from. I think sometimes people are sent so many CVs that unfortunately people don't respond. Now, in my role, it's always been really important to me that if somebody emails me, I'll always respond back. I think that's, that's how I work and that's how I want to support people. But I think some instances people are so inundated by CVs, they don't have the capacity. And I know that's really frustrating. But I think it's a universal issue often in our industry, is that people don't respond. And sometimes you might send your email and CV at just the right time, and it hits somebody's inbox when they want somebody who's got your skills. But my main advice is always, if you are emailing people, first off, it's be very clear what you want, what you offer, what is your role, what genre do you work in, and is the person who you're emailing the right person. So to give you an example, and I might be wrong here on this, Zoe, so bear with me, because I don't really work a lot of unscripted, but in unscripted production, especially if it's a small independent production company, they have a HR manager, they have a talent manager who works in that company. Or sometimes it's a small company, so it would be somebody who is a production executive. If it's a big drama company like Tiger Aspect or Mammoth Screen or World Productions, they're such a big organization that the people on the website are so senior that they're hiring, as you'll know, a line producer and a production manager for their shows, who then do all the hiring. So that's the thing. In terms of crew need to send their CV to people who are classed as a head of department, and sometimes that's where you can get no answer, because you're sending your CV to somebody who is so far up the food chain, they're not people who are making the hiring decisions.
I mean, I'm not necessarily going to disagree with you, Nikki, but I'm going to say my experience, and I've gone in for meetings with people I know who work at BBC and ITV, and I've said, look at this CV, can you give her anything? And they're all very interested for about 5 minutes in the fact that she's a refugee and she's got 2 master's degrees and she's made 6 films and now she's, here. And then it's, well, no, really, because, where would she even slot in? And the best offer I've had is if she can get a driving license, we might be able to get her a job as an unpaid runner. So I think there's a real, it's a real tragedy that there are so many Ukrainian people, not only in the film industry, but in other industries as well. But I think the film is particularly difficult in terms of, as being said, having no contacts who can help them.
Zoe, sorry, it's just an observation kind of from hearing you speak. Could that be just because you're pitching for this woman instead of her pitching for herself? Because it sounds like you are trying to get somebody interested without her talking, and could that be just that basically you're trying to ask for a friend instead of somebody kind of applying for themselves. I don't know, that's just what
I
I've
think
heard.
the problem is when she's done it on her own, she has like an address for the BBC, an address for ITV, and nobody responds. And I think people in the UK are more interested in, I'm sponsoring this woman, she lives in my house, can you give me a job, than they are in having a random email from a Ukrainian person saying, here's my CV. I've had someone from the BBC look over her CV, make recommendations to try and make it more relevant. So it's not as though she hasn't tried on her own, but obviously, you know, she spent 5 months learning English so she can get up to speed.
Yeah,
but
could that also be like maybe something for Nicky to address, I guess? Do you think it is important that like at least maybe 1 or 2 positions, like the most recent on your CV, are from the UK production, or just from any kind of UK workplace? Because if, you know, if somebody has a lot of things listed, but everything is in Ukraine, they don't even understand what sort of level of proficiency in the work environment a person can have.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because you say when people look at credits, because they don't know what the shows are, they don't understand what it is, which is why I think sometimes in a CV, which I'm sure a lot of people do, and you know, I do, is that if you're using a job title like executive producer or production coordinator, you bullet point actually what you were doing in that role. Now, it might seem like you're absolutely stating what is the obvious to yourselves and like to myself, but sometimes it is as simple as that, of just saying, you know, this is what I did. But again, everybody's CV is so different. So apologies, my advice is maybe a little general, but it is that frustrating thing that, I mean, I have it with a lot of people who are in the UK who want to be producers, who want to step up to be producers, that they have all the skills and ability and they want to do it, but nobody will give them an opportunity. So it is finding that one person who gives the opportunity, which then leads to someone else and to someone else. And I think it is a general frustration that there's so many talented people out there that aren't being picked up because they're not hitting the production company at the right time. It's not, there are so many different anomalies that make it really hard.
I have an offer.
Thank you. Nicky, can I ask? Sorry. Can I ask you?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Ola. Yeah. I would ask you maybe probably specific question on the mail. Just I wondered, do you have any places, I don't know, cinemas or spaces to screen in Ukrainian films for children, for adults? Maybe you can support this way. Maybe you can give some advice.
So ScreenSkills is very much about skills and training, that we are not linked to cinema. But is it the I've lost Calvin. That'd be one for Calvin and Venia, but I think the ICO, Independent Cinema Office. But there is or even to go to the BFI. But again, I'm not an expert on independent cinema because I don't work in independent cinema. But again, looking at the film festivals. Whereabouts are you, Ola? Sorry.
Ollie. Where you mean Bromley, London, Bromley, around.
So I'm wondering if Calvin, Venia, people like Film London might be able to advise film festivals. But yeah, I can't think what it's called, but there is an organisation which just supports cinema.
We tried by ourselves. They want rent. They just to know it's a little bit. We created community, Ukrainian Ukrainian Family Film Club, because I used to work as a film festival producer for children, and now we want to do something this way. I understand skills, qualification, the first thing for career, but if we are going to keep our culture or keeping our children to watch something, it's a little bit difficult. Maybe you can give some advice. Thank you. And thank you for invitation, and thank you for everything today. Thank you.
I'm just trying to think. I mean, I don't even know if it's anything within your local council authority. I just want
to say, sorry if it's okay to drop in, because I've organised screenings, and I think you would be better off finding some supportive organizations that already participated in Ukrainian events. So, for example, there is a place called Biblioteka in Peckham. So you could try to
library. It's not that screen and not this format. Thank you very much, Alla. I'm asking about picture house or something like that. Yeah, like cinemas.
Basically just.
Yeah. Thank you, Alla. Thank
you. I think Varta wanted to ask a question now,
yeah,
right?
I actually, sorry, Nikki, this question is not for you. I actually trying to find Zoe, Ukrainian guest, who's a really experienced producer. We were talking about her. Alona, maybe, or someone.
Which?
So,
Ksenia.
No, not, sorry, not Ksenia, I can see you. So Zoe, who were talking about her Ukrainian guest, who is really experienced executive producer. Who is this producer?
That's Elena. Elena, do you want to unmute, Elena?
Where are you? Alona.
Elena, there she is.
Sinegina. Alona Sinegina?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
Елена Фурдуй. Це ви?
Це я.
Okay, I have an offer and I will chat you just separate. I don't want to bother anyone else. I have an idea.
You could chat to Alena Sinegina also. I also producer and also.
Oh, nice! I found you producers already. That's so good.
So maybe each one of you who wants to contact each one, you can have a direct message with each other.
Yeah. I just I needed to know. I needed to know names.
Okay.
Now I know these names. Thank you. Everything is good.
Answer to Nikki's question about the opportunity of screening Ukrainian films in the UK. I just wanted to say that on the website of Filmmakers for Ukraine, on the section under blog section, we very frequently announce festivals who do host Ukrainian films. And that's one thing. And the other thing I wanted to share with you is that Filmmakers for Ukraine do present Ukrainian films on our online charity screenings. So we're seeking for sales and distributors and producers and directors who are willing to give us permission to screen the films online, and all the revenues go to the filmmakers in Ukraine in need of support. And of course, if any festival in the UK comes to our attention who is willing to host Ukrainian films, we always announce them. And I see a comment on the chat by Tatiana who says, could we focus on what do we have to do to receive an offer for interview and job offer in the end? I presume, Tatiana, you mean for ScreenSkills. So, Nikki, can we clarify, do people get the opportunity of receiving an offer for interviews on ScreenSkills after they apply, right?
No. So I have to be really, really clear, and apologies, I thought I'd kind of explained, so that's probably my bad. So ScreenSkills is a training organization. We help people with short courses, with driving lessons, with courses and mentoring. We do not make any television production. So I'm really sorry that we wouldn't be able to offer you an interview for a job, because we don't have jobs. We work with the production companies who would hire you to help then train their crew. So for instance, you could apply to Trainee Finder to be one of our trainees, and if you get on board, we would help you find a placement, but we're not an employer, which is why the kind of two main approaches for people in the UK to try and find work, which I think is probably a universal way, is either you see a job advertised, but as we all know, half the jobs that we would ever want to do are never advertised. So in that regard, it's working out what department you want to work in, and then who actually, if you're in camera, it's finding clapper loaders or focus pullers to send a CV to. If it is production office, again, it's those companies. So it's quite depending on what kind of job you're looking for, and we're all so different. It's kind of like this could be a very long session. And sorry, bear with me, there's just a question. Is it still possible to apply for one of the programs? So Trainee Finder has now closed, but Make a Move, as I suggested, is the Make a Move production companies come to us and say, we've got somebody we'd like to fund. So the best advice I could give Julia at the moment is look at all our e-learning, look at our bursaries, look at our mentoring. There's quite a lot of things that we do to help really bolster and put more information on your CV to show that you've been doing more training and finding out how employment works in the UK. Yeah, Alexandra, sorry, you've had your hand up for ages as well.
Yes, hello, my name is Alexandra. I'm also in Leeds, by the way. I just
Hey, whereabouts in Leeds are you?
Chapeltown.
Oh, right, nice. Yeah, I know Chapeltown.
Oh, yes. So I'm around, but my main goal to move to London, and of course I'm sending CVs. So I received a very interesting comments about my very general CVs that I believe many Ukrainians also on this chat also have, because we all probably have our like survival mode on, you know, the half of the career. So we're doing a bit of everything. So someone is a producer and also the director, and then we were like a bit down, so we went to, and we were like a first AD, and then we came back, and then someone said, maybe you can write a script. Yes, of course. So now in the CV also the script writer. So I believe that like I have this full nice CV with all these skills, and people can perceive it as like she can do everything, she's just like a superwoman, everything will be fine, right? But I got a very interesting comment here that I should specify my CV, and like if I'm applying for producer, so I should exclude everything else from my CV and just put producer's works there, even if it will be just like one page. Can you please give me your take on that? I'm just curious, like how would you perceive? Is it like something that really can be useful?
So my question is, what was your career in the Ukraine before you moved here, Alexandra?
I was a filmmaker. I was trying to make the most directing job, but also was a script writer, translator, and sometimes first AD.
Because I think what often could be a real differentiation, especially in the UK, is that there is a community of people who are filmmakers, who are creatives, who are making content, you know, as well as doing another job. And then there are people who are crew, who are being paid to be camera, makeup, script editors, production. So there's almost like two very different communities in the UK. So that's why I think when it's people who are more filmmakers, it's kind of it's harder because it's quite it's a different world. Have you ever contacted Screen Yorkshire?
Not yet. I just got this contact today, actually, because I just a few days arrived.
So what I would do is contact Screen Yorkshire and contact a lady called Jo Schofield. Jo Schofield works with writers, directors and producers and does a lot of talent development programs in Yorkshire, which are more for people who are filmmakers, whereas the crew database is very much about crew jobs. So I think that's quite key to differentiate, is that you know, some of us are jobbing, you know, we do one job, and then other people of us have portfolio careers who are developing our own short films and our own projects.
Yes.
So definitely get in touch with Jo, and feel free to mention my name, because you know, I know she's really helpful, and she was a script writer as well, and a script editor.
Oh, okay.
There's also something called the South Yorkshire Filmmakers Network. So South Yorkshire Filmmakers Network, they're a really good network in Sheffield, and they do a lot of events.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I might also drop you an email. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll have a go. And that's what I mean. I must admit, I don't want to overpromise. I'll help where I can, but I might not be able to come up with the goods for everybody.
Thank you.
I know we had agreed about an hour for this session. There are 3 questions that I see on the chat. Is it possible that we just carry on with these 3 and we see how we will wrap this? So Max is asking if it would be possible that you could have a look and consult him on his CV. And I'm sure many people are thinking of this. So obviously people can, I don't know.
I mean, I have to be really honest that I'm only one person and there's 57 people on this call. So I can't, I can have a look, but we do have a really good careers team at ScreenSkills. But if you want to send it to me, Max, I'm happy to, but I can't promise that I'll make it maybe any better than it is, but I can have a look. But the key thing, I think, for anybody's CV is to being clear what you're offering. And then I can kind of think about how you tailor it. And also go on our website, Max, because there's things like, and we might have templates on there where, people put about their GDPR statement. So I give permission for my CV to be kept on file and shared for employment purposes. I mean, Calvin, as an organisation, do you have things on the website which helps with CV writing as well?
To do with Filmmakers for Ukraine?
Yeah. Do you have any resources on your website?
No, but we can definitely think about it to make maybe an additional training focusing. Yeah.
There's one point about CVs though, is there's never one CV.
Yeah.
So, you orient your CV depending on what you're aiming for, and never get into the trap of putting everything on it and then seeming really vague.
But let's have a look and let's see what we can do.
Yeah. And Mariana wrote there is a course on ScreenSkills covering writing a CV. So.
No, I meant. Excuse me. It was my question. I'm a Max. Great to see you. Great to see everyone here. I just would like to ask to speak with people, maybe to direct me to right way. Yeah, what I should do. Maybe make different CV, or maybe try to find different skills like this. Yeah, because
I see here on the chat, Mariana has made a nice comment saying, and Nicky, you could clarify if this is the case, I'm sure it is, that there is a CV course on ScreenSkills covering how it should look like and what should be there in terms of consultation and recommendation.
There should be something on our website which is an information page about how to write a CV. Now, I'll be really honest, a lot of our website is sometimes directed at people who are new entrants, who are not industry transferers. So apologies if the tone of it might be a little bit more for more junior people, because we have a very wide audience. But do have a look at that to start with before getting in touch with me, because there might be things that you change on your CV before you get in touch.
I had 12 years of experience in film industry, but I've got my own production company, and I've never write CVs. Here I found people who drive me, like direct me how to do it. Yes, I made it, but it's not work. This CV, like people told before me that they sent and didn't get any answers like this. I've got some work here in UK production, but it was just production assistant like this. Yeah, but it's okay for me. But I would like to something more interesting and special.
Yeah, I agree. So to your point, and I think which feels to me that a lot of people on this phone call have echoed, is that there's actually that frustration that that there's a lot of talented Ukrainian crew, but production people in the UK are not looking at that CV and saying, well, they, absolutely you would go at a more senior level, or you have all these transferable skills. They're suggesting very level entry positions, which I can appreciate is quite frustrating. If not, might feel quite rude, because you have got a vast array of experience that they can offer. I just want to
it's okay for networking. Like these positions, it's okay for networking, but not for something interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. Would I be right in thinking that the majority of people, particularly on this call tonight, actually want to know how on earth do you get these jobs? So I think we talk a lot about the issues and the barriers, but it's ultimately how are you going to? So we probably need a more practical session, maybe, about
absolutely
to actually find these contacts. Because again, Pollyanna,
Nikita has his hand up for quite a while now.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, hello. My name is Nikita. I'm cinematographer from Kyiv, Ukraine, currently based in London. So the very interesting thing that I heard today is about driving license. So I used to work on the small projects like student short films and so on. Currently, I'm working sometimes very rarely on like camera operator on live streaming and so on. I'm trying to enter the runner camera department or Sparks and so on. You understand? And actually, the very big barrier is driving license. So how it's possible to apply for this some kind of like foundation for the driving license?
So if you go to the ScreenSkills website and you click on bursaries, it will give you all the information about the bursaries for driving lessons.
And is there any like database of the productions, like film productions, who are making like TV series, like shows and so on, so we can like send?
So no, no, but if the best advice I'd give is if you want to work in camera, look at an organization called the Guild of British Camera Technicians. So gbct.org. Now, if you go on their website, you will be able to download a list of all the clapper loaders and focus pullers. And I'd really recommend that you go through that. And again, maybe have a look at your CV first, but contact people to try and find camera trainee opportunities. The other thing is if you're in London, look at the Equal Access Network, because you could sign up for the Equal Access Network and they post jobs out on a Friday. But to find an opportunity within camera as a camera trainee, it's the clapper loader who normally would hire you. So that's the person to send a CV to.
Okay, thank you.
That's all right. Somebody else has just asked me about Scotland.
Yes.
You need to check out Film Bang. So if you Google Film BANG, they have a crew database. Also Screen Scotland, they would be able to help as well. Okay. And is there any more questions?
Yes, I've seen a comment in the chat earlier. Someone, let me find it for a second. I think there were some comments by people who wanted to clarify. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find it.
While you're looking for that, Venia, Anastasia, you've asked me about first assistant directors. Look at something called the ADG, the Assistant Directors Guild. So ADG, that is an organisation just for assistant directors in the UK, and they can be really, really helpful. The guy who runs it is called Jay Arthur, and Christina works with him, and she's really good. And they'd be able to maybe give you some advice in terms of the assistant directors team in the UK.
That's fantastic, Nikki. So the two comments that I've found is one by Ekaterina, who says, is there any opportunity to develop skills and jump from, let's say, photography to cinematography and filmmaking? I'm interested to work in a camera crew. So this is something that you have mentioned in your presentation, that people can make this leap from one position to the other.
So, but that's in high-end television. But if you're already a photographer, again, I think a bit like with Nikita, I think it's working in short films. It's making that move across to maybe work as a camera trainee and then work your way up, or developing your own short films in the UK. And again, it goes back to that difference in that creative process, in that there's people who are very much creatives and filmmakers here, and then there are people who are having a career in whatever department that might be. But I think if you're moving from photography into cinematography, camera trainees or short films is probably the way to go.
And another comment by Tatiana is, could you, which is not very clear for me, so maybe you have a good answer to it. Could you please explain more about the study? How long, how much does it cost? How many days per week? How big chance to get a job from your parents after training course? So I think maybe this needs some clarification. There's not one study, right? It's many different courses, many different trainings.
Yeah. So some of the courses, yeah, you're right. So some of the e-learning we have, it will take you half an hour online. Some of the programs we have are Zoom, which is a day or a few hours. So everything is really different. I can't tell you, because every training course has different durations and time scales. But again, if you go on the website under training and opportunities and you click on it, it'll be able to explain what exactly the detail is for each one.
And people are asking about animation. Anything that you could advise about animation? Any useful link for animation productions professionals?
Have a look on our website, click on industry, and then animation should come under that. It's not an area I know a lot about. I know there's a lot of animation companies, particularly in Bristol and the Southwest, such as Aardman. I'd have to come back to you. Yeah. So somebody sent me a direct message say, can you give me some links of names of production in Bristol? But again, I could, but is that film? Is that television drama? Is that unscripted? So I think a lot of the advice I can only give, I need kind of a bit more detail, if that's all right.
Absolutely. And I would just repeat what you keep saying again and again, Nikki. I think ScreenSkills website is a wonderful ocean of information, and as much as people the more people can spend time into looking at it, the more information they can find. And I'm sure that if they invest a little bit of time, they will find their way of different programs and different trainings offered by ScreenSkills.
Yeah, as I say, we are about training and development. We're not a crewing agency, but I think it's been a really good point to raise, and it's something I'm sure we'll talk about at Focus next week, because I think a lot of people who are trying to get into television, it is giving people, anybody and everybody, the skills to know absolutely how to find a job, and that feels that that's something that's missing actually, is that practical advice about how to find a job. So maybe again, that's something that we do on another session, maybe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And since you brought it up, I would like to remind everyone that we're meeting again next week at Focus, which is an amazing event, and you're all very welcome to register and attend. Nikki will be in our panel, and she will be explaining services and trainings offered by ScreenSkills, and we would be very happy to see you all there. And it's a wonderful, amazing opportunity to network and find other people and have meetings and mingle and, spread the word about your skills and your talents.
I mean, I would say, and I think it's kind of been shown tonight, that one person leads to another person who leads to another person. So even then, when I was hearing the three of you talk about being producers from the Ukraine, that already you're building that network. And it is about that. And again, hopefully by me talking tonight, you'll have looked on the website, which have led to maybe some of you looking at the different organisations out there in Yorkshire, in Manchester, in Scotland, or Film London. So if I've only been able to just help directly to somebody who might be able to help, I hope that's been really helpful.
And one last thing, Nikki, you have mentioned that, and you have clarified, you are not recruiting, you are training, right? But suppose people do of this meeting today do come and train with you at ScreenSkills at a particular program. Once people get your training in any of your programs, you kind of keep in touch with them. You kind of make sure that somehow they will find a placement. I mean, after they start training sessions with you, they have a constant collaboration with you for their future employment, right?
Well, it depends. If it's on Trainee Finder or Make a Move or some of our programs where you've done classroom training and there's a placement, absolutely we do. But if you've just been on a 3-hour training program, unfortunately, we don't have the resource or the capacity to help people. But for somebody who's been on a longer program over several weeks and months, absolutely, we really keep supporting them.
That's absolutely great. I see the time. It's almost 9 p.m. at your place, so it's an hour and a half now that we are here together with you. And I don't know if there are any other questions that might be possible to answer at this time. I know, Nicky, you have very long days and you're very, very busy.
All right.
We thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you, Nicky.
That's a pleasure.
We remind everyone that this session is being recorded and we will upload it on our website, Filmmakers for Ukraine, very, very soon. So if you didn't have the time to keep some notes, you can easily see and hear Nicky again with her proposal. So bear with us for a while and you will have it on your record. And Nicky's email is available. You will find it on the ScreenSkills website, along with thousands of other useful informations for you. And I don't know if there's anything else we wanted to add, Nicky, Calvin, Irena.
Nothing to add, but it'd be great to prepare another session where it's much more practical and now based on what we've learned from this first session.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for listening. Apologies tonight if I haven't had all the answers, but it's been really great to meet you all. And thank you so much for the questions that you've asked, because I think you've raised some really, really important comments. And I think, Zoe, thank you as well for your feedback on the frustrations that you face, because I think it's really good to be really honest and open, and then we can do something about it openly, where industries talk about wanting to help but actually doesn't help, and that's something that needs to be addressed.
Absolutely. And Xenia, thank you so much for your efforts to have a systematic way of presenting the Ukrainian talent who is now based in the UK. So we'll definitely keep in touch, and ScreenSkills can be an amazing inspiration to many other countries. I'm sure this is the case for Greece, and we have so much to learn from you. We're very looking forward to work with you again in the future, Nicky, and to welcome you in our presentation in Focus next week.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody, and thank you for everybody's comments in the chat. It's really great to meet everybody. But yeah, if you're anything like in England now, you're probably ready like me for a good cup of tea. So I shall be jumping off Zoom and putting the kettle on and having a cup of tea, which I know sounds very English, but
very well deserved. Absolutely.
Nice
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.